All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. So my name's Kristen. This class is called Stretch and Rest. It's a little bit cold where I am this morning, so I'm dressed for colder temperatures. Hopefully you're dressed and wear it, just a way that it's comfortable for you. So in this class, we begin in a comfortable seat. Your seat that's comfortable might be totally different than mine, right? So if you see anything that I do in my body today and you think that's not for me, totally fine. Just see how maybe you could maybe take that shape and superimpose it into a better way to do it for your body. Okay. If you have questions about any of that, put it in the chat and I'll address it at the end of class. And as always, you can reach out to me on social media through our website, through our Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Yoga with Kristen Rae. Okay, so comfortable seats. For me, that's crossing my legs, sitting up on a bolster. And sitting up on a bolster allows my hip bones, my hip joints, and my lower back to relax. It might even allow you to allow your knees to relax a little bit as well. If you're super tight in your lower back, that's going to affect some tightness when you sit and your hamstring attachments as well. So you might want to add something to help support you underneath your knees. Okay. This could be in any form. This doesn't have to be a yoga block. It could be pillows. It could be different size bolsters. If you're used to taking my class, you know that you can be really creative with what you use. So if you've never taken my class before, you may want to utilize things like a weighted blanket, an airplane pillow, foam roller. Those are all really nice options for support as well. All right, so relax your hands where it's most comfortable for you. That could be the knees, your lap, could be by your sides, okay? Engage your core to lift up your chest. So think of pelvic floor engagement, belly button to your spine, and lift your ribs up away from your hips. And just take a moment to roll your shoulders up and back. And then let your shoulders settle. When you draw your shoulders down, think of lifting your chest up. And if your knees lifted up with you, just try to make a conscious effort to allow them to relax, add support where it's needed. So closing your eyes, core is engaged. Take an inhale through your nose. Hold it in at the top. And then open mouth, exhale, let something go. Again, inhale through your nose. Pause. And again, open mouth, exhale. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. This time through your nose, exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, 4. Pause. Through your nose, exhale, 4. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. Use your inhale to sit up a little bit taller. Your exhale to relax your shoulders. And just continue to breathe this way on your own for a few moments. Practice. Count to yourself if that is helpful. And with your inhale, sit up a little bit taller. Exhale to relax your shoulders. And keeping your eyes closed, if it's a part of your practice, bring your palms together at the center of your chest. And here you might like to take a moment to create an intention for your practice. This could be prayer, mantra. This doesn't have to be anything at all. Deep breath in. And slow breath out. Opening up your eyes, release your hands down, and just begin to lift your shoulders up, rolling them back again. Lift them up and roll them back. And then bring your shoulders up and forwards, up and forwards. So I know it feels different, right? Just checking in. Notice what feels crunchy, what feels good. All right, then roll your shoulders down and back, lift up your chest, and just check that you are still engaging from your core. So we'll begin to move through our side stretches. I'll go through our hand placements for this posture, but this sort of hand placement option is available anytime throughout class. So if one of these works better for you on a different posture than another, all good. You could change it out throughout the entire class if you wanted to with different hand positions. So some of us have some weight bearing issues on our wrist and we need to stay out of that part of our body. So popping up to your fingertips is a nice option. And if you're using something like a block, just remember it has different heights for you, okay? So you could pop up to your fingertips. You could create a fist. You can always have your hand down. If you have your hand down, I want you to think about pressing down from your fingertips, hollowing out that center part of your palm so you're not pressing down into the heel of your hand, all right? And then maybe if you're familiar with working with weights, you could even have a weight around you to hold on to. That works so much better for some people. However, with anything where your hand is not flat down, just be careful of stabilizing the wrist. You don't want to lose balance and then kind of fall out with your wrist a little bit. You could injure yourself. So be careful, feel confident in what hand placement you choose, okay? So with your right hand down, keep the shoulder down. With your inhale, reach your left arm up and overhead and go slow. We're going to move slow on this first set. It's okay if you have a big bend in your elbow. It's okay if you can't reach your arm overhead. You just do the best you can. Reaching the arm overhead best you can with your palm facing down. We have this natural instinct to go palm up here. So bring it down, shoulder down, lift up from your chest, deep breath in. And with your exhale, ground from the right hand and see if you can reach a little more up and over through the left. Deep breath in. Exhale to reach. And then bring your left hand down. Take a moment to let that blood settle. It can be a lot sometimes. And figure out the hand placement that's going to work best for you on this side. It could be totally different. So once you have that figured out, left shoulder stays in its socket. With your inhale, reach your right arm up and overhead. So sometimes when we begin to stretch side to side, we can sink down into the shoulder because that gives us maybe a little bit more of a reach. So if you do that to get into the shape, fine, but just make sure you come back to bringing the shoulder down and lifting up. So it's okay to kind of reverse engineer yourself into a shape, but just make sure you come back to that alignment. So you're grounding down from the left hand or the fingertips. With an inhale, reach a little more up. And with your exhale, take it over, palm faces down. Feel like you're reaching through the fingertips. One more time, breathe in, see if you can lift your chest a little more. And with your exhale, bring your right hand down. When you're ready with your breath, inhale, left arm up and over. Exhale, left hand grounds. So maybe you need to bring the arm in front of your body and overhead. That is an option too. Go with what's available in your body. Using an exhale to ground, an inhale to reach up and over. Mindful that there's many ways that we can get into these shapes, right? So just a couple more at your own pace. Side to side. Stay for more than a breath if you like. And then come back to your center when you feel pretty balanced there. All right, so we'll take our hands behind us. I'm up on a bolster, so it's very convenient for me to just take my hands to the back of the bolster and squeeze my elbows in. If you're on the ground, you might need to put something like a block or a pillow underneath your hands behind you, or pop up to those fingertips. Remember, those hand options exist for you. So elbows in, engage your core. Inhale, lift up your chest. You can stay here, or with your exhale, keep squeezing the elbows in. And without lifting your chin up, just tilt your head up. Chin stays in alignment. That can be so tricky. Deep breath in. With your exhale, chin towards your chest. Then take a block with you as you walk your hands forward into a fold. You only go as far forward into your fold as you can stretch your spine without rocking too far forward in your pelvis. You don't want your butt to leave the floor or the bolster that you're on. And then you don't want to round into the back to reach the arms forward, right? We want to maintain a long spine, engaging the core, arms forward. And then as it's available, maybe we lower the block down or slide it a little more forward, or you can lift the block up and bring the forearms down with the palms up. So there are some options. Shoulders stay back wherever you go. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And lower your head down for a moment. And take your time coming back up to your seat. Feel free to change your legs out at any time. We'll move into our twist. If you have any lower back issues today or your hips are out of alignment, maybe you don't twist as far or you choose not to twist at all today. All right. Otherwise, take your left hand behind you. For me, that's the back of the bolster. Right hand over to the left leg. Shoulders down. Inhale, lift up your chest. Exhale and twist, and let the twist lead with the left shoulder. So you draw the left shoulder back. Maybe your vision follows or you turn your neck. You don't have to, especially if your neck doesn't like that. What you need to look out for here is getting crunchy and rolling forward. So sit forward in the pelvis, but lift up the chest, shoulders down, left shoulder draws back. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Core stays engaged and slowly come back to your center. And we'll take it to the other side when you're ready. There's no rush. Right hand behind you, left hand to the right leg. Inhale, lift up your chest. Exhale and slowly twist. Keeping the shoulders down, lifting up your chest. Exhaling to twist. So core stays engaged. Come back to your center and just take a moment, shake it out, whatever you need. And then when you feel ready to move at your own pace, at least one breath per movement, right? So we're not hyperventilating. We're trying to breathe slow. Left hand behind you, right hand, left leg. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale and twist. Inhaling through your center. Exhaling into your twist on the other side. So you can think of inhales as a way to create space or a way to transition into a shape, and an exhale a way to move into that shape. And we'll take one more of these on each side. And then come back to your center. So take your hands again behind you, your bolster, your blocks, whatever you can grab onto. Elbows in. Inhale, lift up your chest. It should feel very exaggerated in the front of your chest. Breathe in. With your exhale, bring your chin to your chest and walk your hands forward into a second fold. And maybe you don't need the block. Maybe you can pop up to your fingertips. Maybe you can have your hands down, but just make sure when you bring your hands down that your tailbone doesn't lift. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Lowering your head down. See if you can feel a stretch between the shoulder blades. And walk your hands back to your body. All right, so I'm going to lower down to the floor, but you could easily need to add something underneath your seat here. So do what's best for you. I'm going to lower down and we'll set up for a separate leg stretch. And you might need something just like a little pillow underneath your butt to help you tilt forward in your pelvis. Something like a bolster could be too much, so you might have to play around with different heights. Take your right leg out to the right, left foot into the right thigh. If you can't get your left foot into the right thigh, that's no problem. You could have your legs straight out in front of you. You could have the left leg supported with something underneath it. And if this is more shape that you're working with, you flex your right foot, take your hands over to the right side, twist your torso the best you can, and you begin to hinge forward. And then over time, you bring the left foot in, and maybe you use some support under the thigh to help you with that. Hand placement remains the same. So then if it's available to you to have the left foot into the right thigh, take a look at your right leg and make sure that it's not externally rotated, right, out to the side. So if that's you, probably it's just a reflection of how you walk. It's not a huge deal. You can manipulate this from your seat by taking your hands to your thighs, creating an internal rotation, and then flex your foot. It could feel like a lot of work here, but just try to work through it. Press the left foot into the right thigh into the left foot, so you feel a little compression there. And then hands to the ground or either side of your mat, whatever you're working with. Twist your torso towards your right foot. Inhale, lift up your chest without trying to shift your spine, just hinge from the waist. And then if that feels okay, you can walk the hands a little forward, but the second those shoulders go forward and you round and you lose the posture, you come back up. Basically just back up, rewind, reset your spine, reset your hips, keep that tilt forward in the pelvis, and then fold more as it's available. Sometimes all you have to do is add some support. Attachments, like the attachments under the hamstrings, can really hinder our flexibility. So if you add something under the knee, it's going to make it a little bit safer to move a little bit more forward, and you might even feel like less tension in the stretch. Try it out. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Engage your core, slowly come up, and we'll switch it out for the other side. So left leg out, you know your options as far as bringing the opposite leg in, sitting forward in your pelvis. I always have to rock a little left and right when I shift from side to side. And then check in with your left thigh. Where's that internal rotation? Use your hands if you can. All right, so hands to either side of your left leg. Twist your torso towards the left foot. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale and hinge forward. You might start to round, right? You might be leading with your chin. We all have habits that we're not aware of, right? So just think about where you can create space and realign in your own body. You might have to take your hands to your chin and press it back a little bit. Deep breath in, slow breath out. And make your way back up. So left leg can stay pretty much where it is. Extend the right leg out so that they match up with each other. I always lift myself up here and then sit forward in the pelvis. That's just how I do it. That's best for me. You might need to rock a little left and right. You might need to sit on a pillow, put something underneath the knees, right? When you're ready, hands to the floor out in front of you. You could have a block or something underneath your hands if you like. Inhale, lift up your chest. Keep flexing your feet. And with your exhale, take those elbows, point them behind you and hinge forward. So it's almost like your elbows are a track for the torso and you're hinging forward. And you probably feel a good stretch in the legs here. No pulling in the back of your knees. If you feel pulling, you need to take less of a stretch or put more support underneath the knees. Deep breath in, slow breath out. And lower your head down. And begin to roll yourself back up. All right, feet in towards each other, knees out. You could have the feet really far away from the body here. If this is more your shape, remember something could be under your seat. You take your hands underneath your feet and just hinge forward from this shape. As it's available to you, you slide the heels in a little bit more. Mindful, you can always support underneath your thighs. And if it feels okay, you can bring the heels in as far as they can go. If you're used to an Ashtanga practice or you've been doing the shape for a long time, it's going to be a little bit easier. But please still be mindful of those inner thigh muscles. Those little tendons in there can overdo it very easily, right? And you won't know for a few hours. So if it's okay, it's available to you, take your hands underneath your feet. Inhale, lift up your chest. And with your exhale, hinge forward. Check in with those elbows too. Remember that little track you're going to create to bring the torso forward. If you feel any intense pulling in the inner thighs, please back out of the shape. Add support. That's those inner thigh muscles telling you they're going to hyperextend. And then you're going to feel like a weird rubber band when you walk. So you can bounce the knees if that's helpful. If you feel really good in this shape, you could take your elbows, press them down to your calves. That adds to the stretch. That's called a self-assisted stretch. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. So pull in your core, think pelvic floor, belly button to your spine, lower your head down. And slowly roll back up. Take your hands to your knees to bring your knees together. Extend your left leg out in front of you. Your right leg might just stay where it is, but you might need to adjust, right? So that you can get into this twist is where we're going. So you want to be able to sit up tall. If that's really difficult for you, I would recommend that you sit up against a piece of furniture that really helps support your spine and sitting up tall. Maybe that's even a wall space behind you. And then we take the right leg up. We want the knee to stay in alignment. We don't want the knee to be out to the side anymore. So knee stays in alignment with the hip. If it's available, you could cross the right foot over the left knee. Wherever you are, check in with your big toe on your right foot. Big toe on your right foot, press it down. Sit up a little bit taller. Take your right hand behind you. Roll your right shoulder back like we did in our twist earlier. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, reach as far forward as you can. Think of stretching through the bottom of your left shoulder blade. And then hook your elbow around your knee. Hug it in towards your torso to lift up your chest. And maybe you can look to the right. You don't have to. Keep flexing the left foot. Try not to lean too far to the left side. We don't want this hip to leave the floor. We want the hip to stay down. Inhales, create space. Exhales to twist. And your core stays engaged. We'll come back to center and then take your left hand behind you. It could be out to the side. Right hand to the inside of the right leg and just a little counter twist to your left. And then back to your center. We'll switch it out. Right leg extends, left leg up. Think of the knee staying in alignment with the hip, not the knee hanging out to the left. And then cross the foot over if you can. Check in with the big toe now on the left foot. Sit up a little bit taller. Take your left hand behind you. Right hand reaches up overhead with your inhale. Exhale, reach forward. See if you can feel that stretch right in the bottom of your shoulder there. And then hook your elbow around your knee. Hug it in. Lift up your chest and then twist. So when we twist, I'm really saying left shoulder draws back. Maybe the rotation in your neck follows. Maybe not. Big toe of the left foot presses down. Sit forward in your pelvis. Flex your right foot. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale and twist. Come back to your center. We'll counter twist to the right. Right hand out to the right. Left hand to the inside of your knee. And maybe you look to the right. And then come back to your center. So today we'll move into our restorative practice, starting with a forward fold that will be supported. So it's up to you if you want the legs to be separate. We did that in an active stretch. If you'd like the legs to be together, just be mindful of whatever you place on top of the legs adds pressure underneath your knees. So you may, you may need to put some support underneath your knees first. And again, it doesn't have to be a block. It could be a foam roller is perfect here. It could be a bolster. Maybe you have a bolster that's smaller than this, or some small pillows nearby that you can use. So you might have something under the knees to protect them. And then you can put something on top of the knees or on top of the thighs. And be mindful of adding pressure to the tops of the knees. If you can't get away from discomfort, maybe best to just have the legs a little bit more separate and support them there instead. And then I like to use a block. So I'm going to bring the forehead down, but you might not be thinking, I can't reach that, right? So maybe you turn the block up to its taller height, tilt it on its side, and you bring your forehead down to meet the block. If that is not working for you still, just add on to it. So a block and then a pillow. Airplane pillows, right? Those neck pillows work really well here if you need to keep your head straight down as opposed to looking to one side or the other. So play around with it as you settle into restorative shapes. When you get into that minute and a half plus mark, your body will start to react differently. Sometimes that's with tightness. Sometimes that's letting go and creating flexibility. So have extra support around in case your body begins to soften more and you gain more flexibility. You're going to need more support as you have more flexibility. All right, so I'll lead us through a little bit of relaxation technique, and then I'll be quiet for a little bit before we move into our next shape. So when you have the place that's comfortable for you, you can practice being still. Close your eyes. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Relax your jaw. Check in with your shoulders, wiggle them, bring them down a little bit. And then see if you can move through the rest of your body, noticing where you are still engaging muscles. Notice where you can either give yourself some more support to relax or talk yourself into relaxing. Sometimes it just takes awareness of that body part and saying, left hip, it's okay to relax. Right hip, disengage. Whatever words work best for you. Sometimes engaging the muscles quickly and then letting them go will help them relax as well. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Slowly begin to lift yourself up. Take your time. And we'll set up for supported, reclined back bend or supported chest opener. So if you'd like an incline on this, if you'd like to keep your head a little bit higher, and hopefully you have a bolster similar to this to help you with this. Otherwise, it'll be a little bit harder to get the support. So if you don't have a thick bolster like this, what I'm showing you, you'll need to add extra support to achieve a similar effect. So lifting up the bolster, you can place something like a block or even 2 blocks underneath it if you needed more support. Remember, those blocks have different heights. That's going to give you a little bit of an incline, which can be good for breathing. Keeping the airways open can be good for blood pressure and can be good for taking pressure out of the lower back. Nothing is a one size fits all. So sometimes it can add pain instead of take it away. So you need to figure out what works best for you ultimately. So I like to start by reclining up against the bolster and my lower back just right up against it, and then recline. And from there, just make sure that the shoulders can relax freely and the arms can reach the floor. If that's not happening for you, that means you need more support. So then maybe you have a couple blocks or pillows and you can put them beside you for your hands or your forearms or your elbows to relax on. And remember, there are different heights there for you. You want to get to a place where these shoulders can relax. And this could be with the bolster flat on the floor too. You may still need blocks underneath your arms. So your feet can be just like, extended out in front of you. Doesn't matter what you're doing with them. They could tilt out to the sides now. You could bring the feet in towards you, open up the knees and be in a hip opener in this shape. Just be mindful of how your lower back feels here. And maybe you need to shift the support underneath the knees or thighs, or put a block underneath your feet so that it's just more comfortable and supported for you. So there are some options. Play around with them, see what's available to you today. If what you tried last week doesn't feel okay today, that's okay. That's just yoga. It's just how the body is. That's how we are. We change. We change all the time. So when you're ready, close your eyes. Relax your jaw. And again, just move through that visualization of getting the shoulders to relax. Let go of your core engagement. Check in with the hips and the glutes. Notice your toes. Sometimes we point our toes or we flex our feet. We don't realize that we're doing it. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. When you're ready to move, turn your big toes in towards each other. If you were in the hip opener, take your time extending the legs, stretching them out. Take your arms across your body, let your shoulders close. And then take your time coming up to your seat. Okay, so we just want to move the bolster down towards the right leg to prepare for a reclined twist. You may want to shift a pillow to the top of your mat for your head. You may need more than that, okay? You might like to have a block or a pillow set up for the left side because you might know that the left arm is going to need that when we open up into our twist. You might like to have a weighted blanket here. Weighted blankets are awesome across the hip and knee area or the knee to ankle area as well. So lower back when you're ready. Adjust whatever you need to so that you can get comfortable before we set up. With your right leg extended, draw your left knee in, hands in front of the knee or behind the thigh, and just work with gravity. Let the shoulders relax down. We're not actively squeezing or anything like that, just working with a bit of gravity. And then bring your left foot down to the floor. Slide your hips over to the left, just a little, like you're getting ready to roll. And then take the left leg across your body. Position your bolster or similar so that your knee and your ankle are equally supported. So in other words, the ankle's not hanging out. The knee's not up in the air, right? This is a very common thing where the ankle's down, the knee is up, or the knee is down and the ankle is up. So then you may have to think, how can I balance this out? Let's just say the knee is up in the air and the ankle's down. Then you put something underneath the knee so that it can relax and not be fighting and lifting up. Because if it's lifting up, right, then you're engaging the muscles, the inner thighs are working, even if they're just doing it involuntarily, it's still happening. So we want to try to build up enough so that the body doesn't have to react subconsciously. Okay. So if you open up the left arm and your arm's kind of hanging out, your shoulders up in the air, place a blanket, pillow, something comfortable that meets your body, put it underneath. You can even take a towel underneath your entire lower back or underneath your shoulder blades from one side to the other, kind of like a rolled up towel. And that'll give you enough lift. It'll force the shoulder blades up and in. That lifts your chest and rolls the shoulders down. So I've got lots of tricks, lots of little tips. If any of those don't work for you, but you still need support in other ways, just put something in the chat. We'll figure it out. Closing your eyes. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Scanning your body. Notice the right side of your body might be pressing into the floor. Your right thigh might be engaged or glued. Maybe your right shoulder. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Very slowly unwind. When your left foot touches down, slide your hips back over into place so your shoulders, your hips are pretty much lined up with each other. And bend your right knee up to meet your left. So here's a good place to pick up your bolster and take it to the other side. Extend your left leg, right knee in. Find that gentle grip that works for you and just work with gravity for a couple of breaths. Soft from the shoulders. No active stretching going on. And then place your right foot down, slide your hips to the right and take your twist. So right leg across the body. You might have to shift your pillow situation to the other side. And just see where you can add support. Where can you be more relaxed in your body? Close your eyes, come back to that slow breath in and out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. When you're ready, begin to unwind. Right foot touches down. Left knee up. Slide those hips back into place. Bring both knees in. Just give yourself a little hug here. Think of pressing the lower back down when you draw the knees in. And for our final shape, a supported Shavasana, I'll offer it with a hip opener. So it would be a supported Supta Baddha Konasana or recline bound angle. This bolster works great for this shape because of its height. This also works with the height of my body, right? So it's all relative to each of us differently. Having the heels lifted in this shape allows a little bit of an inversion to happen. So that means a little bit of blood flow moving a little bit differently, lymphatic fluid moving a little bit differently just for the few moments that we're here. So counterindication to that would be blood pressure. If you start to feel your pulse in your head or anything like that, you need to get your head a little bit higher up in your legs, or just bring your legs back down towards the floor, whatever's safest for you. Hands can be where they're most comfortable. If we're going to go with the arms down by our sides, let's think of tucking the shoulder blades in and lifting the chest and then letting that go. So you could add support to the top of you, maybe a weighted blanket or just a regular blanket can feel nice. And then at any time you want to bring the legs into a more natural shape, just do that. Just go slowly, one leg at a time over your support. Hips can go out of place pretty easily. So one leg at a time is a better idea. And then just come back to stillness the best you can. As always, we end our class at our seat with a short breathing exercise. If you have to go during Shavasana, I completely understand, and I hope I'll see you next time. So I'll be quiet in just a moment for a few moments, and then we'll end in our seats. Okay, close your eyes. And just come back to scanning your body, just like we've been doing in these restorative shapes. Soft from the shoulders. Think of your left shoulder, your right shoulder, and both shoulders together. And your right hip and your left hip. And then soft and heavy through both hips. Same with your heels, your toes, the space between your eyes. Over and over again, telling the body to relax and just practicing what that means. Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. You're welcome to stay in this space as long as your time allows. When you're ready to move towards your seat, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe a stretch, reaching the arms overhead, pointing the toes, flexing the feet. That always feels good for me. And then take time coming up to your seat. Go slow. And then from your comfortable seat, just remember that it doesn't have to be the comfortable shape that I'm in. It's not comfortable for everyone. I know that. Closing your eyes, take your hands to the top of your knees, lift up your chest. Take an inhale, let your belly expand. Open up your mouth and let something go. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. In and out through your nose now. Normal breath in. Slow breath out. If it's a part of your practice, palms back together at the center of your chest, lifting up your chest, thanking your mind and your body for what it is capable of today, and give yourself a compliment. It's so important to do that. Thank your mind and body. Give that compliment. It could change anytime, speaking from experience. So thank you all so much for joining me. As always, namaste.